My name is Juan Restrepo. I'm the Director General of the Alliance of Biodiversity International and CIAT. I'm very sorry not being present physically today in this important event. Let me greet and salute the Minister for Europe and Foreign Affairs, the Mayor of Montpellier, the President of the ICCO Council, the Director General of CIRAD, the President of the University of Montpellier, the Executive Director of ICCO, the distinguished representative of ICCO member countries present here, the members of the Scientific Committee, and all participants, ladies and gentlemen. Very pleased today to have this short opportunity for a conversation to convey some messages around this absolutely critical and beautiful, important crop as it's cacao and what it means especially for the livelihoods of millions across our planet. In terms of research, we have a very robust organization that in relation to cocoa does a great number of things. We are strong in climate change. We have some initiatives and efforts understanding cadmium as it relates to an important problem that may restrict trade. And of course, one of the elements that brings all of our science together is our Cocoa of Excellence effort that has been going on for a long time and connects everything, connects this value chain in terms of what consumers can have in additional value and how that can be transmitted back into producers. First thing is that research on cocoa is not as developed as it is on other crops. Staples, food staples, where there's huge research and a huge backing on what happens in the field, in the table of consumers, etc. Coffee, for example, that's more closely related to cocoa, but still a bit ahead. We're seeing, fortunately, in the past decade, increasing efforts from both the public and the private sector that are bringing additional and new knowledge into this important sector. For example, how to address this amazing biodiversity, to be able to select those clonal accessions, those clones that are more effective, not only in terms of productivity, but where we can identify more exciting taste flavors, and of course address both biotic and abiotic stress, so how to cope through genetic diversity with climate change and with other elements. There is the element of sustainability, which varies widely across the different countries, where we have associations with deforestation, when we have issues related to managing of the soil, management of watersheds as they relate to cocoa, etc. There is a very important linkage between cocoa and sustainability. Cocoa is in general terms a very sustainable crop, especially if its production systems are designed in terms of agroforestry, if you combine cocoa with other crops, both food and non-food. So it can be not only a great crop that generates value for farmers, but also in terms of its ecosystem services and its environmental balance and its relationship with nature. And of course, the most exciting part for me at least, is how through this knowledge we are unlocking the greatness of this crop. It's similar to coffee 20 years ago in terms of starting to segregate production so we can understand what parts of that production, what they mean in terms of their difference versus the mainstream, and how we can connect that through better profiling, marketing, etc., into markets where consumers will appreciate this difference and that will create a huge opportunities for small, medium, and of course large enterprises, and all the way back into producing families. Yeah, I've been a very fortunate person. I had the opportunity to lead in Colombia. That's a very important producer country for coffee. I was the Chief Commercial Officer of the Coffee Federation of Coffee Growers at a time when Colombia reached the first million bags of specialty coffees. And that the way that was developed was really to ensure that the first element of differentiation was quality. How could we understand that from different regions, different terroirs, as the French call them, different specific locations with different producing techniques, and especially addressing the difference in biodiversity, we could identify a specific supply that could be differentiated from the already well-known high-quality Colombian coffee. So that differentiation is at the core. And then on top of that, we started to add, through different certification schemes, etc., whether that production was sustainable, fair trade, bird friendly, and a number of elements that, as they were packaged, we were able to connect clearly that value to market demand. And given our role, given we were a producer association, we represented the whole of the Colombian producer communities, we had a relative bargaining power that allowed us to, from that additional premium, to transfer basically all of it back into farmers. And these premiums are absolutely critical, especially when things are not going so well, when the international prices go down, are low. This is when these premiums in terms of income for the farmers become hugely important. For cacao, we are starting to travel in the same direction. Cocoa of Excellence, over more than 10 years, has developed quality standards and a very objective and transparent way to understand and differentiate quality. And all of this information is critical to develop the market, and it's of course absolutely critical not only for those winners but for all participants. All those profiles of quality that are standardized are brought back into the hands of producers, so they understand not only what they got, but what they can do better in terms of their production, in terms of the processing, to make sure over time their quality is enhanced, benefiting themselves and benefiting the reputation of this sector that was in the past kind of one mainstream with a little bit of recognition for quality, for some specific diversity, into unblocking diversity across the board. And as in coffee, starting to see not only a few thousands of bags, but probably millions in the short term that would be traded differentially and would of course benefit very especially, as it's our interest, the farmers whose livelihoods in cocoa are not always the best. So we can see over time larger shares of this crop being traded and marketed differentially, which is what we all expect, and that again, by our current knowledge, we know now this is absolutely possible for this crop as it was in coffee, for example. This is a very important symposium and effort. It's right on spot, and I would like to again congratulate CIRAD and ICCO for coming together with this very important venue. And the second element which I've been signaling is that the Alliance of Biodiversity International and CIAT, through cocoa of excellence has the means, has the tools, has the knowledge, and is teaming up with Michelle, with ICCO, to deploy a 5-year vision, a 5-year program that really allows us focusing in origins, in specific countries, with specific communities, etc., to unlock this value for farmers and for consumers. I look forward for your discussions. They are critical, they are important, because your knowledge, your capacities, your learning need to be brought together so we can meet this beautiful value proposition we are committed to deliver for cocoa and especially for farmers.